Hello learners, today we are here to discuss a very important topic related to the world of sustainability and which is related to tourism also. So, I am Amit Tiwari, Assistant Professor at Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, welcomes you all in this online learning for the understanding of subject titled Sustainable Development Goals. So this particular discussion will be taken place by this particular PPT presentation, by which I shall be able to narrate to you the different aspects related to sustainability and sustainable development goals. First of all, once we are talking about sustainable development goals, we need to clarify what we meant by those sustainable goals. If we are in the quest of talking about sustainability, we need to understand what do we meant by sustainability and what all are these goals, by the way, and what is basically development into it. So we can understand that sustainability is to be considered as an aspect of retaining the resources for the futuristic generation, by which we can not only ensure that resources by which the human life or the living mechanism can be ensured, can be enriched, protected, and then this can be passed on to the forthcoming generation. Here, in this context, the UNWTO had established, or United Nations have established, the different goals. These goals are actually talked about the developmental goals. So these goals basically provides an aspect relating to the development as a whole. These are basic development practices by which the human life can be enriched, human life can succeed in the quest of having an opportunity to mix up, to have good health, to have all such opportunities by which we can create world a place to be a place of all safer kind place by which we can enjoy our human rights. These sustainable development goals are being derived into these 17 goals. They are 17 in number. They are having 169 targets, and by 2030 we are expecting to complete, or United Nations is expecting to fulfill the goals by this particular time. So before we came across the discussion, we need to understand that the goals set by the United Nations are said to be sustainable goals. Reason being, these goals are definitely going to ensure the sustainability as far as the human life is concerned, as far as the proximity of different opportunities for different living beings are concerned. These goals are having the highest goals into the world pattern. Reason being, this has been accredited by United Nations, which is the highest organization in the world as far as the development is concerned. There are meaningfully 17 goals, and for all 17 there are different types of indicators, and these indicators you have seen there are different colors in these icons 1 to 17, by which we shall be able to elaborate these distinguished goals the world community have to achieve it. And towards achieving these goals, there are certain efforts to be confined by different world communities, maybe the government of different countries, and for that we need to work really hard. In 2015, after having the Millennium Development Goals, in September 25, the UN by the General Assembly have passed on a resolution called A/Resolution 70/1. This particular resolution passed by the General Assembly of United Nations had adopted the Sustainable Development Goals or sustainability related goals, which are to be considered as SDGs, and they are basically 17 goals and going to be achieved by 2030. Meaningfully, all these goals are going to talk about poverty. They are going to talk about inequality in the terms of fighting against the inequalities, and they are talking about climate change issues relating to the different proportion and to the different propagandas for the development as the world community. Let us quickly talk about these SDG logos. Now, why we are talking about these SDG logos? Now, first of all, we need to understand the logos are playing a vital role. There are certain indicators. These indicators are to be associated with their meaning. These indicators, according to the United Nations, have got the objectivity as to create positive and hopeful language by which the efforts to support SDGs, strengthening the sense and to getting togetherness towards the same objectivity. So, hence, United Nations has propagated the Sustainable Development Goal related logos. These are a kind of wheel by which there are 17 colors being indicated. These are 17 individual icons. These 17 indicators or icons are actually crossing their fingers to attain sustainable goals. They have got the color identifier with the wheel, and these 17 sustainable development goals are corresponding different individual icons for each other, by which they are being identified and they've been contributing to the cooperation among the indicators and under UN charters. In terms of these goals, SDG logo version 2 have got SDG color wheel, which is basically 17 colors mixed up indicators, which is basically kind of single icon. Also, there are 17 icons altogether, and this icon is in the accordance with the requirements of set standards by the United Nations. So let us talk about their first indicator, that is first goal. First of all, the United Nations had declared after the Millennium Development Goals (MDG), where they talk about zero hunger or zero poverty. Now they are turning to the SDGs to be completed by 2030. The first goal of SDG is no poverty. Friends, once we are talking about students, once we are learners, once we are talking about the poverty is a state of hindrances. This hindrances is nothing but the capacity of buying. Capacity is lacking in terms of buying. If individuals' capacity for buying has been hindered because of certain human development index getting down, buying capacity or earning per capita income getting down, then the person is into the state of poverty. So to eliminate the poverty, we need to create the awareness. For that, we need to educate people, awareness, and we need to educate people, and to educate people, we need to foster a kind of society where the multi-educational system needs to be adhered with all sort of civilians throughout the world without having any caste, creed, color, race or gender. So here this particular framework, by this red color only, we can see the kids, the old persons, the females and the male fraternity, they all are to fight against the poverty. Once you are in the quest of fighting, the associations, the organizations are also in the quest of providing better opportunities to the people or masses for availing the benefit of the education and to strengthening and empowering themselves. Earlier to MDGs, MDG, there was zero hunger. So as MDG now been transmitted to SDGs in this context of 2030. Now we are talking about zero hunger. Hunger is a state of life where people are having the problem where they don't have food. Where on an actual status in this world there is no shortage of food. There is no shortage of food availability, but definitely there is a shortage of distribution system as a whole. So distribution system have a problem by which the proper distribution of the food is still the problem among the masses still in 21st century. So to eliminate this particular situation or to counter this particular situation, the government and organizations have to look after the status of masses where they need to provide it, the masses, the 2 meals per day, and the opportunity to convey that there is a significant availability of all food materials for everyone. For this, NGOs, the government, and the individuals can play a vital role. If there is no shortage of the food grain or food items, there is a distribution channel which is having some malpractices that needs to be eradicated, and there should be an aspect of achievement that there should be zero hunger, since everybody being provided or everybody needs to be provided food facility. Let us move further to understand the third goal of the SDGs. The biggest achievement of United Nations would be attaining good global health. And once we are talking about good health and well-being, there are 2 things to be talked about. One is the physical health and another one is the mental health. Once we are talking about physical health, of course, the last goal, if we are talking about good health, definitely we are going to talk about the availability of food or availability of the nutrition. Nutrition is an outcome or nutrition-less condition of having malnutrition is an aspect related to the low having hunger inside the society, and if it is not dealt with the level of zero, there would be problem of attaining good physical health, despite of the fact that we don't have the nutritional food. Forget about nutrition food, even the food is not available. So to counter that third goal, we need to achieve first goal, second goal, and to achieve the second goal, we need to think about the first goal as well. On the contrary, if we talk about the good mental health, good mental and physical health, those are having food. Those are having the 80% resources onto the planet. They don't also have the good mental or physical health. Reason being, we don't have the healthy practices in our day-to-day life. We consume a lot of food. We don't have time for exercising. We don't have time for caring of our good mental health or well-being. So on a contrary, there is a scenario that people are not having food, or people not having the nutritious food, or having malnutrition. There is another side that people have enough food but they don't have good health. So this kind of scenarios have to improvise. Through the education, through proper monitoring and counseling, we can achieve this particular. For this particular aspect, the individual and society, masses, family needs to play a vital role. Let us quickly talk about the fourth goal, that is the quality education. Quality education in terms of availability of education or ensurement of availability of education for everyone, especially the deprived people, those have under the poverty condition, providing a better education opportunity to everyone, especially the dropouts, especially those are the students, those are the youngsters, those are the kids under age of 14, where they are not having an opportunity for going school regularly. So school dropouts needs to be cut short. They need to be facilitated with the books and the school bag. They need to be facilitated with availability of food. They needs to be facilitated with the kind of education as a right of theirs. Rather, they need not to be sent it for the work, because this is again the problem. Because ultimately, the initial part of human life needs to be educated well. There are n number of opportunity to the people, but for ensuring quality education, we need to have the good institutions. So institutional collaboration is the responsibility of the government. By the end of 2030, we are achieving the overall target of quality education. Quality education does not only consist of just availability of the schools, rather or availability of the good or higher institution. Rather, it talks about total quality management aspect related to the education. So if we are talking about this particular aspect, we all have to pull up our socks. We need to create awareness among the people, masses, and need to provide the every possible opportunity to our every society or every individual in the society, by which one can nourish their own future. Gender equality is one of the important criteria still in the 21st century. We have got gender biasness, we have got gender issues related to females, so that needs to be dealt in a way where there is an equal opportunity for both male and female child. Once we are talking about the girl child do have their specific rights as a distinguished human being, but they all needs to be equated by the name of the Almighty or God, by which they can possess the similar human rights. So as far as human being is concerned, the 50% community, 50% population of the world called female society needs to be empowered. They need to be provided their right for education. They need to be provided the right for the financial aspects. They need to be given the right for decision making for themselves and health, etc. The next sustainable development goal is relating to the sustainability and related to development aspect, which is related to clean water and sanitation. Clean water or availability of the clean water is the biggest challenge in this world, especially in the 21st century, because one side we have got the huge pressure of the population, and on the contrary we have got a lot of pressure on the resources as well. We are having a lot of burden on the resources or pressure on the resources, mainly of the water resources or water bodies. They are either contaminated, they are either polluted, or because of certain activities like tourism, and they are not being taken care by all of us. So water needs to be treated on our priority, and if we are consisting this particular on our priority, definitely we are going to contribute a lot towards the world economy, because water plays a vital role in this world, not only for the masses but for the other species also. 70% proportion of this earth is made up by the water. Then also we have the problem of distinguished water related to sanitation and clean water. So there should be certain challenges related to the availability of clean water and sanitation. We need to upgrade our civic sense also, because most of the time, especially in some part of the world, we have witnessed that because of lack of civic sense, we are burdening the water bodies, or we are not able to recreate the water bodies what we are looking for our own self. So it is our duty to not only to create the healthy habits by which we can ensure the clean water, and to ensure the sanitation aspect which is required at the minimum from our own end. So this is what one of the important goals we have learned today. Let us quickly talk about one more goal, and then we'll be able to discuss this particular remaining 10 goals after the a while, or we'll discuss the next 10 goals in the next session. So this particular goal, that is called sustainable development goal, this is sustainability related goals in the world, because we are talking about two things. One is the clean and one is the affordable energy. So whenever we are talking about energy, energy is an important aspect which is related to life, human life. And whenever we are talking about the availability of energy sources, we need to consist of, we as a human being, it's our overall responsibility to take care of the planet Earth. Because whenever we are talking about sustainability, it is the our per capita requirement of energy is actually creating a lot of pollutions, garbage, waste, and by which we are having certain other problems. On the contrary, these sources for energy are limited in numbers. This particular trajectory is limited. Reason being, we have to adhere our huge challenge in terms of, or to address huge challenges related to a very big population of 800 crores onto the planet. Then we need to justify this with the great efficiency. So to look after the affordable and clean energy, there are alternative sources. This may be the solar energy, this may be the wind energy, this may be the recyclable aspect of the different energy, and we can also create energy by the waste. So wasters are there. Wasters can be even translated into the electricity, or certainly we can recharge, recreate. So this particular aspect is actually consists of the affordability, which we can afford, and getting through the cleaner energy. So within this lecture, we may be able to conclude here that after this particular discussion, we have talked about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are the 17 goals and having 169 indicators to be achieved within the time frame of 2030. So this is what almost 9 years time ahead, by which we can actually look after to achievement of all these goals. So remaining goals from the goal number 8 to goal up to the goal number 17 would be discussed, and we shall be able to come up with a next session by which we shall be able to talk about all complementary goals under sustainability development related goals. So for the time being, we are concluding our session, and we are hoping that while addressing these goals, we may be able to justify our own moral responsibilities as a smallest entity of the world, being as a responsible citizen of the world, and we can participate a small hand or small contribution towards achieving those. So stay tuned. Do watch out for the next remaining session, by which we will be able to discuss about other goals from Sustainable Development Goal number 8 to 17. Till then, thank you.